Welcome to my latest 2023 NFL preview video. Today I am breaking down the Dallas Cowboys. Here's how my preview videos work. I start off with 3 things I like about the Cowboys, followed by 3 things I don't like. Then I go over to yearly win total odds, break down the schedule, and at the very end I give my betting recommendation on the Dallas Cowboys. Let's kick this off with 3 things I like about the Dallas Cowboys. The first thing I like about the Dallas Cowboys is defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. Of all the breakdown videos I've made so far, I've never named the coordinator as one of the things I like, but Dan Quinn is different. In my opinion, he should be an NFL head coach again and could be in 2024. What impresses me most about Quinn is that when he came to Dallas, he changed his scheme completely. This no longer was the famous cover 3 zone defense NFL teams figured out. It became this confusing, multifaceted type defense. In year 1, the Cowboys went from having 29.6 points per game scored against to 21.1, and then last year that dropped to 20.1. The Cowboys defense gave up the 5th fewest points in the league and created more turnovers than any other team. Even in their playoff loss against the 49ers, they gave up only 19 points, which should have been good enough for a win. One of the most impressive things Dan Quinn did is the second thing I like about the Dallas Cowboys, and that is Micah Parsons. In his first 2 years in the league, Micah Parsons has been runner-up for defensive MVP both times. He's been mentioned in the same breath as Lawrence Taylor, and it's deserved. Under Dan Quinn, he doesn't play just one position, but he flies all over the football field and is almost impossible to game plan for. He's a physical freak of nature. He's as strong as a defensive lineman. He's as fast as a defensive back, but he plays linebacker. There is no limit to how good Micah Parsons can be. Going into 2023, he is my choice to be defensive MVP, and don't be surprised if one day he joins Lawrence Taylor and Alan Page as the 3rd player in NFL history to be named overall NFL MVP. Basically said, Micah Parsons is just that good. The third thing I like about the Dallas Cowboys is their wide receivers. This offseason, Dallas traded for one of my favorite players in Brandon Cooks. Cooks has all the talent of a number 1 wide receiver, but will play second fiddle to CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. But Dallas goes 3 deep with Michael Gallup, who hasn't been able to stay healthy, but is an excellent receiver when he is. On most teams, Gallup is a solid number 2 wide receiver, which he was last year in Dallas, but with adding Cooks, this just adds talent to an already solid receiving core. Last year when the Cowboys drafted Jalen Tolbert in the 3rd round, it was a pick I didn't like because while talented, Tolbert was exceptionally raw, and I didn't think he would contribute at all in 2022, and he didn't. 2 catches for 12 yards. However, Tolbert is physically gifted. I just completed my preview of the New York Giants, and Tolbert's talented enough to be the Giants' most athletic wide receiver. He might even be wide receiver number 1 in New York, but here in Dallas, he'll struggle to get on the field, but he should top 2 catches and will push Gallup for the number 3 spot here in Dallas. To recap the 3 things I like about the Cowboys, I like defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, Micah Parsons, my defensive player of the year, and the Cowboys receiving core. Before I talk about the 3 things I don't like, make sure you smash that like button, and if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out when you subscribe to the channel. Now, 3 things about the Dallas Cowboys I don't like. The first thing I don't like about the Cowboys is the ownership. Now, to be clear, Jerry Jones is an idol, revolutionary, and well-deserving to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That said, I will always believe Jimmy Johnson was more responsible for the Super Bowls than Jerry. As a businessman, you are better, and while as a world-class owner, I firmly believe if he took more of a back seat in the organization, the Cowboys would be more successful and finally get another Super Bowl trophy. The second thing I don't like about the Dallas Cowboys is I'm not sold on Mike McCarthy. I joked around when Dallas ran this play, someone will get fired over this, and Kellen Moore was that guy. McCarthy is a good enough coach if you look at the stats, a 614 winning percentage over 16 years, 1 Super Bowl win, and an 11-10 playoff record. McCarthy might even be considered a Hall of Fame coach someday, but I never considered him elite. The thing is, under Kellen Moore, Dallas had one of the best offenses in all of football. Even though he is the offensive coordinator under Jason Garrett, Dallas was number 1 in yards and 6 in points. 2 years ago, Dallas had the highest scoring offense, and last year 4th. But Kellen Moore's the problem? I hated that play, but Kellen Moore I don't really think is the problem. If Dallas doesn't win the Super Bowl, it's unknown if McCarthy will return, but we will see. Just to be clear, I like McCarthy. I just don't think he was elite, nor will I ever. The final thing I don't like about the Cowboys is that they play in the brutal NFC East. In just about every other division, Dallas would be the division favorites, but not in the East. And when I say East, I mostly mean Philly. Dallas, I can argue, might be the second best team in the NFC except for the Eagles. Dallas is a team that can win on the road to advance in the playoffs, and despite losing at home last year in the playoffs, getting home field advantage is always the better road to get to the Super Bowl. Dallas will put up an excellent fight to win the NFC East, and even if they don't, I fully expect Dallas to return to the postseason. Now, to recap the three things I don't like about the Cowboys, I think Jerry Jones should take a step back. I'm not sold on Mike McCarthy, and Dallas plays in the brutal NFC East. Now let's go over to yearly win total odds. I have Barstool, Caesars, and DraftKings downloaded in my phone, and all three apps have different numbers. If you don't understand yearly win total odds, check out my tutorial video listed here. To see which one of these three numbers is the best, let's take a look at the Cowboys schedule. This schedule is rough. They open the season in New York playing the Giants on Sunday night, and you have 4 out of the first 6 games are on the road. A week 7 bye might be an advantage, but I personally don't think it is. Now, the Rams do host Pittsburgh week 7, so you start off after the bye at home with an additional week rest. You do travel to Philly week 9 before playing the Giants at home week 10, and then you travel to Carolina week 11. Then you have a great 3-game stretch at home. You host Washington on Thanksgiving, you play Seattle on Thursday night, and then you play Philly again at home week 14. Now, you also finish the season with 3 out of the final 4 games on the road, with the lone home game against Detroit. I look at it like this: weeks 2 through 4, you must win 2 out of these 3 games. That's 1 home win and beating the Cardinals on the road. You travel to 3 playoff teams from 2022. If you can just get 1 win out of those 3, you get to the bye at a 3-3 record. After the bye, I got Dallas beating the Rams and winning at Carolina. The 3-game home stretch, I think you gotta win 2 out of those 3, and the final 4 weeks of the season, again, you gotta win 2 out of those 4. If you're watching the math, I just gave you 9 wins without talking about weeks 9 and 10. Week 9, you travel to Philly, and week 10, you host the Giants. If you split those 2 games, I got you to 10 wins. The previous 2 seasons, Dallas has been 12-5, and I just showed you how they can get to 10 wins. My prediction is Dallas will go 12-5 again, maybe even 13-4. On paper, this team looks better, and while the Cowboys may not make the Super Bowl, I'd be hard-pressed to say that they won't make the playoffs. My betting recommendation would be to take over 10.5 at plus 115. That's available now on DraftKings. I like trends, and when a team on paper is better than after winning 12 games the previous 2 years, I'm inclined to think that they can win 11. The schedule is rough, and Dallas will have to win often on the road to get over 11 wins, but I think they can do it. You can check out all my 2023 NFL previews on this playlist, and tomorrow I break down the Buffalo Bills, so I look forward to seeing you back tomorrow.